After enjoying global success in the Twilight movies, Taylor Lautner's red-hot career quickly cooled off. He didn't stop working, but nothing quite clicked after he left the world of werewolves and vampires. Keep watching to discover why you don't hear about him anymore. While Lautner's Twilight co-stars Kristen Stewart and Robert Pattinson have gone on to successfully distance themselves from the franchise, he hasn't quite been so lucky. During Twilight's 4-year run, Stewart and Pattinson were looking toward their future and immersing themselves in other roles to avoid being typecast. Thus, it was fairly easy for them to transition away from Twilight immediately after it ended. Lautner, meanwhile, only had the likes of Valentine's Day and Abduction on his resume in between Twilight installments. Clearly, branching out into different projects wasn't one of his strong suits. 3 years after the last Twilight film hit the big screen, there was already talk of Lautner potentially being a one-hit wonder. As a Hollywood agent told The Hollywood Reporter in 2015, it's not easy to move out of the shadow of a hit like Twilight, but he's still very young. There's time for Taylor to become more than just Jacob. But now several more years later, he still hasn't escaped the shadow of the supernatural drama, and you have to wonder if it's too late. Lautner got his first shot at a leading man role in the 2011 romantic action thriller Abduction. With legendary director John Singleton at the helm and an amazing supporting cast that included Sigourney Weaver, Alfred Molina, and Jason Isaacs, the stage was set for the teen idol to brush aside his Twilight association and become Hollywood's new action hero. Spoiler alert, it didn't happen. Apparently, audiences weren't too keen on seeing Lautner if he wasn't going to transform into a werewolf. The movie bombed at the box office, grossing only $28 million domestically, against its $35 million budget. It was also universally panned by critics, as it could only muster a dreadful 5% on Rotten Tomatoes. The only saving grace for Lautner was that a few critics didn't blame the film's abysmal showing solely on his shoulders. As Tim Roby wrote in The Telegraph, "When Taylor Lautner is the least of a movie's problems, be afraid." Although Abduction was a bust, studios were still willing to give Taylor Lautner a chance. In 2015, he starred in the action thriller Tracers, in which he played a bike messenger who discovers parkour and a girl while being chased by the Chinese mafia. Unfortunately, Lautner's American fans didn't get a chance to see the film in a theater, unless they went to one on May 10, 2015, the only day of its US theatrical release, when it raked in a mere $2,000. The international box office didn't fare much better, as it took in a paltry $3.3 million overseas. The reviews were also quite bad, with Steve Tilley of the Toronto Sun predicting, "At the end of Twilight, poor shirtless werewolf Jacob didn't manage to get the girl. And if he's not careful, Taylor Lautner isn't going to get a career either." And with that, Lautner's career as a leading man was pretty much over, perhaps never to be resurrected.
I don't buy it.
Not every major movie star is an Oscar winner, but that's okay, because they can rely on their screen presence and charisma to make their movies successful. Unfortunately, according to critics, Lautner has neither of those things. Movie Line's Alison Wilmore didn't pull any punches on him in her review of Abduction, as she wrote, "This may be the first film I've ever seen where when an actor goes to put his hand thoughtfully on his chin, it's so awkward I became afraid he'd somehow miss and poke himself in the eye." Benjamin Mercer of The Village Voice wasn't much kinder, as he observed, "Lautner looks very much like a stranger in his own performance." The reviews for his second outing as a leading man weren't much better. As Brian Orndorff of Blu-ray.com wrote, "Lautner is still not much of an actor, but at least Tracers isn't asking him to pull off any major dramatic movements. He's here to move at top speed, leap over walls, and make pain faces when the going gets tough. Anything more than that is beyond his skill level."
What's your problem? What, do you guys think I'm a narc or something? Come on.
Despite those pans, 2 flops shouldn't be enough to end a career, which would seem to suggest that there may have been trouble brewing behind the scenes. As a producer told The Hollywood Reporter in 2015, Lautner's first movie just wasn't very good, and it didn't justify what he was asking for at the time. After coming off one of the most successful film franchises in movie history, we can't really blame Lautner and his representatives for swinging for the fences when negotiating his post-Twilight salaries. In 2011, an anonymous studio production executive told Vulture, Lautner's talent agency did a brilliant job of convincing Hollywood that he's the next big movie star. That's reflected in the numbers, as Lautner earned $5 million for Abduction and was set to take home $7.5 million for a movie about the toy character Stretch Armstrong. Another studio exec told Vulture, "I remember when Universal co-chairman Donna Langley cast him in Stretch Armstrong. She said to me, 'He's the real deal,' and I thought, based on what? Based on Twilight?" And the tea kept spilling, as a former studio marketing exec told Vulture, "Abduction is like selling Tobey Maguire in anything outside of Spider-Man. If I were sitting on top of Stretch Armstrong now, I'd be terrified." Then, in January 2012, The Wrap reported that Lautner dropped out of Stretch Armstrong due to scheduling conflicts. And since then, there haven't been any reports of Lautner signing $7.5 million contracts for anything else. In 2015, Lautner showed up in the Adam Sandler starring Netflix comedy The Ridiculous Six. He talked about the movie during an interview with Ryan Seacrest, as he noted, I read the script and it absolutely terrified me, and the role terrified me. My role is pretty out there. He's a total country bumpkin. So I said to myself, if I just go for this and don't hold back, what could go wrong? While we can't blame Lautner for hitching his wagon to the funny man behind Happy Gilmore and Billy Madison, he should have trusted his gut instincts, as the movie was a disaster both on and off screen. Not only was a ridiculous 6 critically panned with a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes, it drew even sharper criticism due to its offensive content that made even some cast members walk off the project. According to the Indian Country Today media network, several Native American actors left the set after being offended by racially charged jokes and inaccuracies during filming. Netflix attempted to come to the defense of its film, as a spokesperson said, "The movie has ridiculous in the title for a reason, because it is ridiculous. It is a broad satire of Western movies and the stereotypes they popularized, featuring a diverse cast that is not only part of, but in on the joke." As for Lautner, he simply could have avoided this whole controversy and another critical bomb by realizing that he was terrified for a reason. I'm okay! Messy career drama aside, it's possible that Lautner has taken a break from Hollywood to focus on his family, as an Instagram post from August 2018 seems to suggest. The photo features him leaning down to give his little sister McKenna a kiss, while she's lying in a hospital bed along with the caption, "Second heart procedure is finally a massive success. Couldn't possibly look up to this little/not-so-little girl anymore. You are much braver than I. Love you so." The actor often posts about his sister after all, including an adorable shout-out in July 2018 in which he announced, "Happy 20th birthday to this cool cucumber, who inspires me every single day. One day I hope to grow up as cool as you. Love you more, McKenna Lautner." Considering that Lautner is so close to his sister, we wouldn't be surprised if he's turning down roles to be there as often as he can for his family. If you take a quick glance at Lautner's Instagram, it's clear he's focusing on many different priorities outside of Hollywood these days. Instead of sharing on-set photos or pics with other actors, his account is mostly filled with vacation photos and shots of his girlfriend, who's also named Taylor, or Tay for short. It's obvious that Lautner is smitten with his lady love, whom he's been dating since October 2018, and the feeling certainly appears to be mutual, as evidenced by the glowing tribute Tay posted to Lautner on his 27th birthday in February 2019, as she declared, "To the man with the sweetest heart, happy birthday. Day by day you amaze me. The love, humility, and grace you radiate never goes unnoticed. Every day with you is an adventure filled with cuddles and laughs, and I am so grateful I get to do life with you." We're taking a wild guess here, but it seems like Lautner is too busy with romance to focus on his career, and maybe Hollywood execs have taken notice. Although Lautner's career seems to be at a stalemate, don't rule out a potential comeback just yet. For one thing, it's possible that he may very well reunite with comedian Greg Davies, his co-star in the British sitcom Cuckoo.
Honestly,
You think it's nice?
it's nicer than the thing I had earlier.
Wow, that's interesting, because that is made exclusively out of cows' anuses.
No.
Lautner earned high praise for his work as Dale on the sitcom, which was no small feat, as he had big shoes to fill when he replaced one of the show's main stars, funny man Andy Samberg, in 2014. Lautner eventually left the show in December 2018, with Andie MacDowell stepping in as his replacement. And while he might not be a regular cast member anymore, his work has left a lasting impression on the rest of the cast. Just ask Davies, who said he's open to working with Lautner again down the line. As he told Metro in November 2017, "It's an unlikely friendship. We're doing 2 more series next year. I get on really well with him. He's a thoroughly decent chap." We'd of course be pumped to see Lautner back in action. So here's hoping that he and Davies can ultimately find the time to work something out. Taylor Lautner might not be lighting up the big screen and starring in must-see blockbusters like he used to, earlier back when Twilight was the biggest deal in the world, but he doesn't really have to anymore. At least not from a financial standpoint. According to CelebrityNetWorth.com, he's amassed a whopping $40 million fortune, thanks of course in large part to the Twilight franchise. That's no small feat for someone who's still in his 20s to have that much in the bank. While some may say that Lautner's showbiz career is all washed up, that hasn't stopped him from living in style. In September 2020, for example, he dropped some serious coin on an Agora Hills mansion near Los Angeles. According to Yahoo, the 5,400-square-foot Mediterranean-style home sits on 9 acres and includes a 45-foot swimming pool, 5 bedrooms, and a walk-in closet as big as a studio apartment. And it's also a smart home that's powered by Control4 automation technology. A few months earlier, Lautner had sold his estate in the San Fernando Valley to NFL player Todd Gurley for $4.2 million. So sure, Lautner may not be regularly making Hollywood movies anymore, but we assume he's too busy enjoying his new mansion to care. Or maybe he's just kicking back and relaxing while he waits for the right comeback project to come across his lap. Check out one of our newest videos right here. Plus, even more list videos about your favorite stars are coming soon. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the bell so you don't miss a single one.